Have you ever had an idea for a video game and wondered, could I actually build that? Well, this is where it all begins. We're about to jump into the Unity game engine, and I'm going to walk you through everything, step by step. We're going to go from a totally blank canvas to creating your very first scene. Think of this as your personal guide to the essential tools you need to start bringing your ideas to life.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll create our blank canvas, a brand new project. Then, we'll take a quick tour of what I like to call your new digital studio, the Unity editor itself. After that, we'll start adding our first actors to the stage and learn how to direct them. And finally, to wrap it all up, you'll get a fun little challenge to put all your new skills to the test. All right, let's dive right in. Every single game, from the simplest mobile app to a massive open-world epic, starts with this one step, creating the project. This is you, staking your claim on a little patch of digital land where your world is going to come to life. So let's do it.
Okay, first things first, you're going to want to open up Unity Hub. You can think of this as mission control for all of your projects. Once you're in, find and click that big New Project button. You'll see a few different templates pop up. For what we're doing today, let's select the 2D Core template. This just sets up the editor with some helpful defaults for 2D games. Now give your project a name, something like experimenting is perfect for now. Choose where you want to save it on your computer and then hit Create Project. Unity is going to take a minute or two to build everything, so if you're following along, now's a great time to pause until it's ready.
And we're in. Welcome to the Unity editor. This is where the magic happens. Now, don't panic if your screen looks a little different from mine. The editor layout is super customizable, which is great, but we want to be on the same page. So just go up to the top menu, click on Window, then Layouts, and make sure you select Default. That'll snap everything back to the standard view so it's easy to follow along.
Perfect! Our project is set up and ready to go. Before we start building, let's get our bearings. Think of this as a quick tour of your new digital studio. It might look a little intimidating at first with all these panels, but we're just going to focus on the three main windows you'll be using constantly.
Over here on the left, we have the Hierarchy window. This is basically the table of contents for your game scene. Every single thing you put in your level, your player, enemies, platforms, the camera, it's all going to be listed right here. Right now, you should only see one thing, a main camera. That's the virtual lens that shows the player your game world.
Now, this big window right in the middle, that's the scene view. This is your playground, your canvas, your stage. This is where you'll visually build everything. You'll be dragging objects around, arranging your levels, and really designing your game world right here. You'll also notice two little tabs at the top, Scene and Game. The Scene tab is for building, and if you click over to the Game tab, you'll get a live preview of exactly what that main camera is seeing.
And last but not least, over on the right is the Inspector window. The best way to think of this is as the DNA panel for whatever you have selected. See for yourself. Click on the main camera in the hierarchy. The inspector immediately fills up with all of its specific details, its position, settings, all of its components. This is where you'll tweak and fine-tune every single object in your game.
All right, tour's over. We know the lay of the land now. This scene is looking pretty empty, though, don't you think? It's about time we brought our first actor onto the stage. Okay, to make our first object, just move your mouse over into the hierarchy window, into that empty space, and right-click. A menu will pop up. From there, just hover your mouse over 2D object, then slide over to Sprites, and finally click on Square. And boom! Just like that, you should see a new object called Square pop into your hierarchy, and a white square should appear right in the middle of your scene view.
And there you have it. Seriously, congratulations! You have officially created your very first game object in Unity. I know, it's just a square, but this is a huge deal. Every single thing in a Unity game, whether it's a character, a bullet, a coin, or a piece of the level, is at its heart a game object. You just learned the fundamental building block of everything.
So what even is a sprite anyway? Well, in the world of 2D games, a sprite is really just any 2D graphic. It could be your hero, a scary monster, a shiny collectible, anything at all. It's the basic visual atom that you build your 2D world with, and our little white square is the simplest kind of sprite there is.
Okay, let's give our new square a little personality. Make sure your square is selected in the hierarchy. Then look over to the inspector on the right. You'll see a section called the Sprite Renderer component. That's the part that tells Unity how to draw the square. Inside that component, find the property called Color. Go ahead and click on that white box next to it. A color picker will pop up. Now just pick any color you want and watch your square change instantly in the scene view. Pretty cool, right?
So, we've got our actor on stage, and we've given it a new costume by changing its color.
Now it's time for you to step into the director's chair. Let's learn how to tell our actor where to go, how to pose, and how to change its size.
Look at the top left corner of the editor. You'll see a little toolbar there. These are your transform tools, and they are your best friends. With your square selected, try this. Press the W key. That's the move tool. You can now drag those arrows to move it around. Now press E. That's the rotate tool. Press R for the scale tool to make it bigger or smaller. And finally, press T for the rect tool, which is amazing for stretching 2D objects. Seriously, take a moment here, pause if you need to, and just cycle through W, E, R, and T. Get a feel for what each one does.
Now for some pro tips that will make your life way easier. First up, duplication. If you want a copy of your square, just select it and hit Ctrl-D on Windows or Command-D on a Mac. It's that easy. To look around your scene, hold down your middle mouse button to pan and just use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. And remember, if you need perfect placement, you can always just go to the inspector and type in the exact numbers for position, rotation, and scale.
So what happens when you have two sprites that overlap? How does Unity decide which one to draw on top? That's where order and layer comes in, and it's super important. Select your sprite and look back in the inspector. Inside the sprite renderer, you'll see this property. By default, everything is on layer 0. If you change an object's order and layer to 1, it will always be drawn on top of anything that's 0. If you set it to -1, it'll be drawn behind. This is how you create depth in a 2D world.
You've actually learned a ton already. You can create a project, find your way around the editor, make objects, and move them around. The absolute best way to make all of that stick in your brain is to actually use it. So, to wrap things up, let's do a fun, simple challenge. Here's your mission, should you choose to accept it. Using only the basic shapes you know how to create, like squares and circles, I want you to build a scene that looks like a level from a classic platformer game. Now, the goal here is not to make a playable game, not at all. This is purely for fun, just a chance for you to get comfortable with the interface and practice all the skills we just talked about.
So how can you do this? Well, to make a character, you could combine a few shapes, maybe a square for the body, a circle for the head. To build the ground, just create a new square and use the rect tool, that's the T key, to stretch it out into a long platform. For things like clouds in the sky or floating coins, just duplicate your shapes with Ctrl+D, then resize and recolor them. And don't forget, to make sure your character is in front of the background, you'll need to use that order and layer setting we just learned about.
Once you've made a little scene that you're happy with, you should totally share it. Here's an easy way to do that. First, in Unity, click on that Game tab to get a nice clean view without all the editor lines. Then, on your computer, use the Screenshot tool. A really quick shortcut on Windows is the Windows key plus Shift plus S. And just grab a picture of your masterpiece. Sharing your very first creation is a great way to mark the beginning of your game dev journey. And that's it. Think about it. Just a few minutes ago, you started with absolutely nothing. And now, you've directed your very own scene. You now have a real understanding of the basic, fundamental building blocks for creating worlds in Unity. This is just step one. You've built one single tiny scene. Just imagine what worlds you're going to create next.